The morning sky above Seoul turned black as massive ships blotted out the sun. Kim Ji-won was drinking coffee at her apartment window when the first vessel appeared. It was enormous, bigger than any building she had ever seen, with strange curves and surfaces that seemed to pulse with blue light. "What is that thing?" she whispered, pressing her face against the glass. Similar ships were appearing over cities around the world. In New York, London, Tokyo, and Moscow, the same dark vessels hung in the air like giant metal clouds. People everywhere stopped what they were doing and stared up at the sky in shock and fear. At the military base outside Seoul, Commander Park Jin-ho received urgent calls from every branch of the armed forces. His communication room was chaos as reports flooded in from around the globe. "Sir, we count 12 ships over major cities," reported Sergeant Lee Mina, her voice shaking. "Each one is at least 5 kilometers long." Commander Park had been a soldier for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for this. The ships just floated there, silent and menacing, waiting for something. The waiting ended at exactly noon. Voice boomed from every television, radio, and electronic device on Earth. It spoke in a cold, mechanical tone that made people's skin crawl. "People of Earth, we are the Zephyrian Collective. Your planet now belongs to us. We have come to harvest your resources and claim your world. You will not resist. Resistance will result in complete destruction." Commander Park grabbed his radio. "All units, battle stations, this is not a drill. We are under attack by hostile, alien forces." But the aliens were not interested in talking anymore. Without warning, beams of bright energy shot down from the ships. The first beam hit a military base in Germany, and the entire facility simply disappeared in a flash of light. The second beam destroyed a naval fleet in the Pacific Ocean. In Seoul, Kim Ji-won watched in horror as one of the energy beams struck the city center. Buildings melted like ice cream under a hot sun. Thousands of people were running and screaming in the streets below her apartment. The human military tried to fight back. Fighter jets took off from air bases around the world, their pilots knowing they were probably flying to their deaths but determined to defend their home. Tank divisions rolled out to face an enemy they could not even reach. Captain Choi Soon-ho piloted his F-16 toward the massive ship over Seoul. His radio crackled with voices from other pilots in his squadron. "Target the weapon systems," he ordered. "Fire everything we have." Their missiles struck the alien ship's hull and exploded in bright flashes, but when the smoke cleared, there was not even a scratch on the surface. The ship's weapons rotated toward them like giant eyes focusing on insects. "Evasive maneuvers," Soon-ho shouted, but it was too late. The alien weapons fired streams of energy that moved faster than the human pilots could react. One by one, the fighter jets were destroyed, their pilots dying in balls of fire that lit up the sky. On the ground, Tank Commander Yoo Dae-hyun led his armored division through the streets of Seoul, trying to reach civilians who were trapped in the city. But the alien ships could attack anything they wanted from high above. "Sir, we cannot even reach them with our weapons," his gunner reported over the radio. "They are too high up." Dae-hyun watched as another energy beam destroyed an entire city block. "Keep moving. We have to save who we can." But saving people was becoming impossible. The aliens seemed to have unlimited power. Their weapons could destroy anything humans had built. Tanks, ships, planes, and buildings all melted under their attacks. Dr. Han Minji worked at the National Research Institute and had been studying radio signals from space for years. She had always hoped that first contact with aliens would be peaceful, a moment of wonder and discovery. Instead, she was watching her species face extinction. "The energy output from their weapons is beyond anything we understand," she told her research team as they worked in their underground laboratory. "Our most powerful nuclear weapons would be like firecrackers compared to what they are using." Above ground, the cities were burning. People were fleeing to the countryside, to underground shelters, anywhere they could hide from the alien attackers. But the ships seemed to be everywhere at once. By evening, the first day of the invasion was over. 12 major cities lay in ruins. Most of Earth's military had been destroyed. Millions of people were dead or missing. Commander Park sat in his underground command bunker looking at reports from around the world. Every piece of news was worse than the last. The aliens had not even tried very hard, and they had already won. "Sir, what are our orders?" asked Sergeant Lee. Park stared at the map showing the destruction. Red marks covered most of the world's major population centers. "We keep fighting," he said quietly. "Even if we cannot win, we keep fighting." But deep in his heart, he knew the truth that everyone was thinking but nobody wanted to say out loud. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and they wished they were still alone. The aliens had come, and Earth was losing. 3 weeks had passed since the aliens arrived, and Earth looked like a different planet. The great cities that once sparkled with lights at night were now dark ruins. Most of the world's population had fled underground or to remote places far from the destroyed cities. Commander Park Jin-ho now lived in an abandoned subway tunnel beneath Seoul with 200 other survivors. They had turned the old train station into a makeshift military base, complete with sleeping areas, a medical station, and a communications room powered by stolen generators. "Sir, we received a message from the resistance group in Busan," reported Sergeant Lee Mina, holding a crackling radio. "They managed to take down one of the smaller alien scout ships yesterday." Park looked up from the map he was studying. "How many people did we lose?" 43 soldiers, sir, but they recovered some alien technology. It was always the same story. For every small victory against the aliens, humans paid a terrible price. The Zephyrians seemed to have unlimited ships and weapons, while Earth's forces grew smaller each day. Dr. Han Minji had been working in the subway tunnels for days, trying to understand pieces of alien technology that the resistance fighters brought back. She was exhausted, her eyes red from staring at strange metal fragments under dim lights. "These materials are not from our planet," she told Commander Park. "The metal is stronger than anything we have ever seen, and it seems to repair itself when damaged." Park nodded grimly. "Can we use it to make weapons?" "I am trying, but their technology is too advanced. It is like trying to build a computer when you have only seen fire." Above ground, the aliens continued their work. They had built massive mining machines that dug deep into the earth, taking metals and minerals. They seemed especially interested in rare elements that humans had barely begun to understand. Captain Choi Sunho, one of the few pilots who had survived the first day, now led small groups of fighters on dangerous missions. They could not fight the big alien ships, but they could sometimes attack the mining operations. "We hit their mining site near Daegu last night," he reported to Commander Park. "Destroyed 2 of their machines before they could respond. Good work, but be careful. They are learning our tactics." It was true. The aliens were adapting to human resistance. They had started using smaller, faster ships to patrol areas where humans might be hiding. They had also begun using some kind of scanning technology that could detect human life signs from great distances. In a hidden laboratory beneath the ruins of the National Museum, Dr. Kim So-young was working alone with ancient artifacts that had survived the bombing. She was an archaeologist who had spent years studying old Korean texts and artifacts, but now she was looking for something else entirely. The old stories and legends that she had once thought were just myths suddenly seemed more important. Stories about powerful weapons hidden by ancient kings, about secret places where great treasures were kept safe from invaders. "There has to be something," she whispered to herself as she studied a stone tablet covered in old Korean writing. "Our ancestors faced invasions before. Maybe they left us something to help." She had been translating the same passage for hours. It spoke of guardians that slept beneath the waves, of powerful ships that waited for the darkest hour. The coordinates mentioned in the text pointed to a location in the East Sea, deeper than any human had ever explored. Meanwhile, the aliens were growing confident. Admiral Vextar, the leader of the Zephyrian fleet, watched the mining operations from his command ship with satisfaction. "The humans are no longer a threat," he told his officers. "Their resistance grows weaker each day. Soon we will have extracted all useful resources from this planet." His tactical officer agreed. "Their weapons cannot even scratch our hulls. This conquest has been easier than we expected. But the Admiral did not know about the small groups of humans who refused to give up. In underground tunnels, mountain caves, and hidden bunkers around the world, people like Commander Park and Dr. Kim were still fighting, still searching for hope. Dr. Kim finally made a breakthrough late one night. The ancient text she had been studying mentioned specific coordinates and spoke of a key that would awaken the sleeping guardians. The key was described as the blood of the first people, which she realized meant human DNA. She gathered her research and made the dangerous journey through the ruined city to find Commander Park and his subway base. "Commander, I have found something important," she said, spreading her papers on a table. "These ancient texts speak of ships hidden beneath the ocean, ships that were built by our ancestors long ago." Park looked at the old writings skeptically. "Doctor, we need real weapons, not old stories." "What if they are not just stories?" Dr. Kim insisted. "What if our ancestors knew that one day we would face an enemy from the stars? What if they prepared for this moment?" Park studied the coordinates she had marked on a map. They pointed to a location in the deep ocean, far from any land. "Even if you are right, how would we get there? The aliens control the skies and most of the surface." "Captain Nam Ji-hyun still has her submarine," Dr. Kim said. "She has been running supply missions between the coastal resistance groups." For the first time in weeks, Commander Park felt something that might have been hope. Captain Nam Ji-hyun had been hiding her submarine in underwater caves along the Korean coast for 3 weeks, running secret missions to help survivors. When Dr. Kim So-young and Commander Park Jin-ho found her, she was repairing damage from her last encounter with alien patrol ships. "You want to go where?" Ji-hyun asked, looking at the coordinates on Dr. Kim's map. "That is in the deepest part of the East Sea. No human has ever been that far down." "The ancient texts are very clear about the location," Dr. Kim explained. "If I am right, there is something down there that can help us fight the aliens." Ji-hyun studied the faces of the two people asking her to risk everything on an old story. Commander Park looked tired and desperate, like a man who had tried everything else. Dr. Kim looked determined, like someone who truly believed in what she was saying. "My submarine was not built to go that deep," Ji-hyun said slowly. "The pressure could crush us like an egg, but you will try?" Park asked. Ji-hyun nodded. "We are all going to die anyway if we do nothing. At least this way we die trying." They prepared for the journey in secret. Along with Dr. Kim and Commander Park, Ji-hyun took 3 of her best crew members: Engineer Lee Ki-wan, sonar operator, Jung Hye-jin, and Communications Officer Baek Jin-wan. The submarine Hansan left its hiding place before dawn, moving quietly through the dark water. Above them, alien ships patrolled the surface, but they did not seem interested in what was happening far below. "We are now at 1,000 meters depth," reported Jung Hye-jin. "Still descending." The submarine's lights cut through the black water as they went deeper than any of them had ever gone before. At 3,000 meters, strange fish with glowing bodies swam past their windows. At 5,000 meters, even those creatures disappeared, leaving only empty darkness. "According to the coordinates, we should be directly above the location," Dr. Kim said, checking her calculations again. "I am not seeing anything on sonar," Jung Hye-jin reported. "Just the ocean floor, 8,000 meters down." They continued, descending. At 7,000 meters, the submarine's hull began making small creaking sounds as the enormous water pressure pressed against it. "Captain, we are approaching the safe limit," Engineer Lee warned. "If we go much deeper, the hull might crack." "Keep going," Ji-hyun ordered. "We have come too far to turn back now." At 8,000 meters, they reached the ocean floor. Dr. Kim pressed her face against the small window, searching for anything that looked unusual. The submarine's lights showed only mud and rocks. "There is nothing here," Commander Park said, quietly. "We risked our lives for nothing." But Dr. Kim was not ready to give up. The text mentioned that the entrance would only appear to those who carried the blood of the first people. "Maybe we need to get closer." Ji-hyun carefully moved the submarine along the ocean floor, following the exact coordinates from the ancient text. Suddenly, Jung Hye-jin gasped at her sonar equipment. Captain, I am reading something strange. There is a large hollow space directly beneath us, but that is impossible. The sonar shows solid rock. As they watched, the ocean floor began to change. What had looked like natural rock formations started to shift and move, revealing geometric patterns that were clearly artificial. Those are not natural formations, Dr. Kim whispered. Someone built this. A circular opening appeared in the ocean floor, perfectly round and glowing with soft blue light. The water around it began to move, creating a gentle current that pulled the submarine toward the opening. Captain, the current is drawing us in, Engineer Lee reported. Should I fight it? Ji-hyun looked at the impossible sight before them. No, let it take us. The submarine was pulled down through the circular opening into a tunnel that seemed to be made of the same glowing blue material. The tunnel curved and twisted, leading them deeper into the earth. After several minutes, the tunnel opened into an enormous underwater cavern. But this was not filled with water. Somehow the space contained breathable air, and the submarine's instruments showed normal atmospheric pressure. This is impossible, Engineer Lee said, staring at his readings. We are 11,000 meters underwater, but there is air in this space. The cavern was vast, stretching beyond what their lights could reach, and filling the space were ships. Dozens and dozens of ships unlike anything any human had ever seen. The vessels were sleek and beautiful, with hulls that seemed to be made of black crystal. They were arranged in perfect rows, as if waiting for someone to return and use them. My God, Commander Park whispered. Dr. Kim, you were right. A voice suddenly filled the submarine, speaking in perfect Korean. Welcome, children of Earth. I have been waiting for you to come home. The voice was neither male nor female, but somehow warm and familiar. I am Prometheus, guardian of the fleet eternal. You carry the genetic signatures of the first builders. You are their descendants. Dr. Kim found her voice first. Who were the first builders? Your ancestors, Prometheus replied. Long ago, before your recorded history began, humans sailed between the stars. These ships carried your people to distant worlds and brought them safely home again. Images appeared in the air around them, showing humans in advanced spacecraft, traveling through space, visiting other planets, and building great cities among the stars. But something happened, Prometheus continued. Your ancestors chose to abandon their technology and live simply on Earth. They hid their greatest achievements here, beneath the waves, waiting for the day when their children would need them again. The aliens, Commander Park said. You knew they would come. The galaxy is full of species that take what they want from others. Your ancestors knew that one day Earth would face such a threat. They prepared these ships for you. The lights in the cavern grew brighter, and the ancient ships began to hum with power that had been sleeping for thousands of years. The ancient ships began to glow brighter as Prometheus spoke to the humans in the submarine. Captain Nam Ji-hyun watched in amazement as the nearest vessel's hull became transparent, revealing a bridge that looked like it was made of living crystal. The ships will bond with you, Prometheus explained. They were built to serve humanity. Each vessel will learn from its pilot's mind and adapt to their needs. Dr. Kim So-young was the first to leave the submarine. She stepped onto a platform that appeared beside their vessel, made of the same glowing material as the cavern walls. The air was clean and warm, filled with a soft humming sound that seemed to come from the ships themselves. How is this possible? She asked. These ships look like they were built yesterday, but you said they are thousands of years old. Time moves differently here, Prometheus replied. The ships exist in a state between sleeping and waking. They have been waiting for you. Commander Park Jin-ho joined Dr. Kim on the platform, followed by the submarine crew. Engineer Lee Ki-won walked up to one of the smaller ships and placed his hand on its hull. The moment his skin touched the surface, the ship responded. Lines of light raced across the vessel's hull and a doorway opened silently. Inside, the ship was beautiful and strange. The walls curved like the inside of a seashell, and soft lights moved beneath the surface like flowing water. It knows me, Lee whispered, in wonder. I can feel it in my mind, learning who I am, Captain Ji-hyun approached a larger vessel that looked like it was designed for combat. As soon as she touched it, information began flowing into her mind. She suddenly understood how the ship worked, how to fly it, how to use its weapons. The neural interface is connecting with your consciousness, Prometheus explained. These ships do not just carry humans, they become part of them. Commander Park entered the largest ship, which seemed to be the fleet's command vessel. The bridge was magnificent, with a captain's chair that looked out through walls that could become transparent to show space in all directions. When he sat in the chair, Park felt the ship's mind merge with his own. He could sense every system, every weapon, every piece of technology. But more than that, he could feel the other ships and their pilots, as if they were all connected. "We are one fleet, one mind," he said, understanding flooding through him. These ships were designed to work together. Above them, on the surface of the ocean, the alien patrol ships detected unusual energy readings coming from deep underwater. Admiral Vextar received the report in his command center. "What kind of energy signatures?" he demanded. "Unknown, sir," his officer replied. "The readings are unlike anything in our database. The power levels are extraordinary." Vextar frowned. The humans had shown no technology that could produce such readings. "Send a deep scan probe to investigate." But by the time the alien probe reached the coordinates, the energy signatures were already moving. The ancient human ships were rising from their hidden base, ascending through the dark ocean toward the surface. Dr. Kim piloted her ship with growing confidence. The vessel responded to her thoughts as much as her touch. When she wanted to see what was happening outside, the walls became transparent. When she needed to communicate with the other ships, she simply thought about it, and the connection was made. "This is incredible," she said to the others through the mental link. "These ships are alive." "Not alive," Prometheus corrected, his voice reaching all the pilots at once. "But they are more than mere machines. Your ancestors created them, to be partners, not just tools." The fleet of 12 ships broke the surface of the EC just as the sun was setting. They rose from the water like sea monsters from ancient legends, dripping and gleaming in the orange light. Captain Ji-hyun felt her ship's weapons systems come online. The vessel carried energy weapons that made human nuclear bombs look like firecrackers. But more than raw power, the ships had defensive systems that seemed to bend the laws of physics. "I can make my ship invisible," she reported to the others, "not just to light but to all forms of detection." Engineer Lee discovered that his ship could move through solid matter. "I just passed my hand through the control panel," he said in amazement. "The ship can become incorporeal." Commander Park in the command vessel felt the full power of the ancient technology. His ship could move faster than light, travel through dimensions that humans had never imagined, and strike targets with weapons that worked on principles beyond current science. "Prometheus, why did our ancestors abandon this technology?" he asked. "They grew wise," the AI replied. "They learned that great power without great wisdom leads to destruction. So they chose to live simply, to grow as people rather than as conquerors. But they knew that one day their children might need this power to survive." The alien sensors finally detected the rising ships. Admiral Vextar stared at his displays in disbelief as 12 unknown vessels appeared on his screens. "Those ships," he said slowly, "they are not in our database. Where did the humans get such technology?" His tactical officer's voice was strained. "Sir, the energy readings from those vessels exceed anything in the collective's arsenal. They are more advanced than our command ships." For the first time since arriving at Earth, Admiral Vextar felt something he had not experienced in centuries of conquest. Fear. The ancient human fleet had awakened, and Earth's true children were ready to reclaim their heritage. The 12 ancient ships rose above the ocean surface as the first stars appeared in the darkening sky. Commander Park Jin-ho felt the power of his vessel thrumming through his body like a second heartbeat. Around him, the other ships moved in perfect formation, their hulls shimmering with energy that made the water below them glow. "All ships, this is Commander Park." He spoke through the mental link that connected all the pilots. "Today we take back our world. Today we show these invaders what humanity truly is." On the alien command ship hovering over Sol, Admiral Vextar watched his sensors with growing alarm. The 12 human vessels approaching his fleet showed power readings that should have been impossible. "Sir, should we attack them?" asked his weapons officer. "Not yet," Vextar replied, though his voice betrayed his nervousness. "Let us see what these primitives think they can do with their new toys." The human fleet spread out across the sky, each ship taking position around one of the massive alien vessels. Dr. Kim So-young piloted her ship toward the Zephyrian cruiser that had destroyed the university where she once worked. Her vessel's weapons systems hummed with anticipation. "These ships want to fight," she said through the link. "I can feel their eagerness." Captain Nam Ji-hyun positioned her ship directly in front of Admiral Vextar's command vessel. The alien ship was enormous, 10 times larger than her ancient craft, but she felt no fear. Her ship whispered in her mind, showing her exactly how to defeat the enemy. "All ships attack pattern Alpha," Commander Park ordered. "Show them what?" Their scans missed. The battle began with Ji-hyun's ship simply vanishing from all sensors. One moment it was there, the next it had disappeared completely. The alien weapons fired at empty space while Ji-hyun's vessel reappeared behind the command ship, its energy weapons charging. The beam that struck the alien ship was unlike anything the Zephyrians had ever encountered. It did not just hit the hull. It passed through the shields as if they were not there, through the armor as if it were paper, and struck the ship's power core directly. The massive alien command vessel shuddered and began to list to one side, its lights flickering as primary systems failed. "Impossible," Admiral Vextar gasped. "Our shields should have stopped any known weapon." "Your shields were designed to stop weapons, you understand." Ji-hyun's voice came through his communication system. "These weapons work on principles your science has never discovered." Engineer Lee Kaiwan engaged the alien mining ship that had been stripping metals from the Korean mountains. His vessel phased through the enemy's hull like a ghost, appearing inside the ship's engine room. From within, he fired a single pulse that destroyed the massive vessel from the inside out. The alien ship exploded in a brilliant flash, its debris raining down harmlessly into the ocean as Lee's ship emerged unharmed from the destruction. Dr. Kim targeted the cruiser responsible for destroying Seoul's city center. Her ship's weapons did not fire energy beams or missiles. Instead, they seemed to unravel the very atoms that held the alien vessel together. The enemy ship simply came apart, its molecules separating and drifting away like dust in the wind. One by one, the alien ships that had terrorized Earth for weeks were destroyed or disabled. The ancient human vessels moved like dancers in the sky, impossible to hit, striking from angles that should not have existed. Commander Park's ship engaged 3 alien vessels at once. His weapons fired through dimensional rifts, hitting targets that were millions of kilometers away as if they were right in front of him. The alien ships exploded simultaneously, their crews never understanding how they had been defeated. "Sir, we are losing the entire fleet," the tactical officer reported to Admiral Vextar. "These ships, they are using technology we cannot comprehend." Vextar watched his mighty armada being systematically destroyed by 12 small human vessels. Ships that had conquered 100 worlds were being defeated by technology that seemed to work by magic. "Signal retreat," he ordered. "All remaining ships, retreat immediately." But the human ships were not finished. They appeared around every fleeing alien vessel, blocking escape routes, herding the survivors like sheep. Dr. Kim's voice filled the communication channels of every remaining alien ship, speaking in their own language. "You came to our world believing we were primitive. You were wrong. We are the children of the first builders, and Earth is under our protection." The few surviving Zephyrian vessels hung motionless in space, their crews too shocked to move. In less than an hour, the mighty collective fleet had been reduced to scattered remnants. "We surrender," Admiral Vextar broadcast on all frequencies. "We yield to the humans, please show mercy." Commander Park's ship materialized directly in front of the damaged alien command vessel. "Your surrender is accepted," he replied. "But you will carry a message to your collective and to every other species in the galaxy." "What message?" Vextar asked. "That humanity is no longer hiding. We are the inheritors of an ancient legacy, and we will protect our world and our people. Any who come to Earth in peace will be welcomed." Any who come as conquerors will face the same fate as your fleet. The remaining alien ships departed Earth's solar system, carrying news that would spread throughout the galaxy. The species that called themselves the Zephyrian Collective had met their match in a race they had dismissed as primitive. As the alien ships disappeared among the stars, the 12 ancient vessels settled into orbit around Earth. Below them, the planet's survivors emerged from their hiding places to see their protectors silhouetted against the stars. Dr. Kim looked out at the vast universe beyond Earth's atmosphere, no longer seeing humanity as small and alone, but as part of something magnificent and ancient. The age of hiding was over. The age of wonder had begun. Humanity had remembered who they truly were, and the galaxy would never be the same.